Winter on the Ice. Story by Beverly Randall. The cold winter was coming. It was time for the emperor penguins to go ashore. There were hundreds of them. Gwyn leapt out of the sea with all the others. The penguins plodded across the ice and snow in a long line. Sometimes they lay down and slid on their fronts. Page 4. A week later, they reached the place where the mother penguins always laid their eggs. Gwyn bowed to Pen, and she bowed back. She would be his mate. Gwyn and Pen kept calling to each other. Soon, Gwyn knew the sound of Pen's voice, and she knew his, even when the other penguins were being very noisy. Page 6. When Pen laid her egg, Gwyn stood beside her. He knew that he had to keep the egg off the freezing ice. He pulled it quickly towards him with his beak. He rolled it onto his strong feet before it had time to get cold, and tucked it under his feathers. Gwyn would have to keep the egg warm until it hatched. Page 8. After she had laid her egg, Pen was very hungry. She needed to hunt for food in the sea. She joined a line of mother penguins as they plodded off into the dark. The sea was far away, and they would not be able to come back for months. Gwyn was left behind with the father penguins on the freezing ice. Page 10. The winter night grew darker and colder, and the wind started to blow hard. The father penguins were huddling together to keep warm. Gwyn needed to join them. He had to shuffle along with his egg balanced on his feet. At first, Gwyn was in the freezing wind on the outside of the group, but he kept taking little steps until at last he reached the inside. It was warmer there. Page 11. All through the long dark winter, the father penguins took care of their eggs. Whenever the wind was strong, they huddled together. Page 12. At last, the sun came up again. Slowly the days grew longer. Then, one morning, Gwyn felt the egg wobble. His chick was trying to make a hole in the shell. It pushed its way through the shell, bit by bit. When the chick hatched, Gwyn tucked it carefully under his feathers to keep it warm. Page 14. Gwyn had eaten nothing at all for 3 long months. Now he was nearly starving, and his chick was getting hungry too. But how could he go down to the sea to find food? If he left the chick alone on the ice, it would die. Then Gwyn heard some loud calls. The mother penguins were coming back. One voice belonged to Pen, and he called out to her. Pen heard his cry and hurried towards him. She had arrived just in time. Pen fed their chick and pulled it onto her own feet. It was her turn to take care of it. Now Gwyn, the brave emperor penguin, could go down to the sea to find food. His long winter on the ice was over. The end.